Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Got a lot to cover on today's show, so I think we're going to get straight to it. Do want to know, before I do that, I do want to mention my thoughts and prayers to the many people who got hit hard with flooding again. I don't know what in the world is happening. We felt relatively safe. We did a whole bunch of irrigation work after the last time we were hit that had a great positive preventative impact, so we're grateful. But I've had so many friends get hit again, and so my thoughts and prayers are with them. Reggie Gray, he is a regular on The Price of Business, and after you hear him, you'll see why. He's with a great organization, the Intercontinental Chamber of Commerce, which is really probably unlike any chamber you've heard of before. It has not only a huge Houston footprint, but literally a global footprint that's being added to it all the time. Reggie, always glad to have you on. You always bring great guests, and today will be no exception. Gordon Quan is going to be awesome. But tell us more about the Intercontinental Chamber of Commerce, and then introduce us to your guests.
Once again, Kevin, thanks for having us on. It's always great to be on here with you and everything that you do for business in the Houston and the national markets. Yeah, the Intercontinental Chamber, now getting ready to open for 4 offices here in Houston. We'll have the North Houston and Galleria that's already open, and the Woodlands and Stafford offices are underway and ready to be open by August 1st of this year. And then, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, we opened our latest office in San Salvador, so now that gives us exposure in 14 countries. Very good. As we do that, it's very important that we deal internationally, and we deal with a lot of businesses, and they have issues with things such as immigration. And so on our team, and luckily we're proud that he's on our board of directors, and in fact our international chair-elect for next year, it's our privilege that I get to have as our host today one of the best immigration attorneys in the United States, and that is none other than former city councilman Gordon Quan.
Gordon, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Reggie. My pleasure to be with you this morning.
Reggie, why don't you start off with your first question for our guests?
Now, Gordon, you and I know, what you do and how you're integrated in with the chamber. But just for our listeners at home, could you give a quick overview of what your office does and the services it provides?
Well, Reggie, as you know, moving goods and services around the world is not just an easy occurrence, especially when you talk about personnel going with those services. And so what we do is try to analyze the company's needs as far as what immigration requires of the individuals coming to the United States, whether it's on a brief business trip or if they want to be investors or they want to set up a new office and transfer personnel, or if a person wants to stay on a permanent basis. So reviewing their overall situation, looking at what's a proper visa. Sometimes people get in trouble by just coming on a tourist visa, enrolling their kids in school. Next thing you know, they've actually created a major violation of the immigration law by doing that. It's really not legal to have students attending public school on tourist visas. So just avoiding some of the pitfalls that people run into, making sure all their documentation is right, not to invest money without knowing you have a full legal status in the United States.
So it sounds like an incredible amount of prior preparation needs to take place before any actual action happens.
That's right, Kevin. This is not something to be done half-heartedly, just to say, I think I'll pack up my bags and move my family to America. It looks like there's good opportunities. They need to really investigate this well. I have one gentleman I met recently from Brazil. An attorney told him, "Oh yeah, no problem. Bring about $100,000 and I'll get you a working visa." He got here, he sold everything, and it turns out there was no treaty for investment from that country. And he said, "I was so downhearted, I couldn't even think driving back home. What have I done? What is my family's future?" So you're right. Pre-planning is essential.
Yeah, very good. Reggie?
Yeah, Gordon. Now, I know that from, as most people that are probably listening have heard of you, is you're very active with a lot of organizations and have been for many years in the Houston area. But if you don't mind, give me your view on how you feel the Intercontinental Chamber, and now that you've had a chance to interact with this and be a part of the board let the listeners know how we're a little bit different from your viewpoint.
Well, there are a lot of chambers of commerce, no doubt about it, Reggie. People think of the Greater Houston Partnership and other chambers. What I have found with the Intercontinental Chamber is that while it's a global chamber, it's really a small chamber in that you and your staff and other members have really worked to build a camaraderie amongst the members to provide opportunities for small and medium-sized companies that they ordinarily would not have. Most of our members, while we do have some members that are the largest companies around in Houston, most of our members are really middle and smaller companies, and you see the CEOs who can make those decisions at our meetings. You don't have to work through a bureaucracy of clawing your way to find somebody who can make that decision. You're talking to them directly.
Yeah, that's very good. By the way, do you have a website there for your firm?
Oh, yeah, it's quanlaw.com, and we're proud to say that we were selected Tier 1 by U.S. News and World Report as best law firms in immigration.
Very good. Go right ahead there. Reggie?
Yeah, and Gordon, now, as I said, you're involved in a lot of things in Houston. We know that the Super Bowl is returning to the Houston market, and I'm very pleased to report that you, of course, are on that committee to help things get established. Is there anything that you'd like the listeners to know as we plan and prepare for the Super Bowl again here in Houston?
Well, I was on City Council last time we had the Super Bowl, and it was a great event, but it seemed that only those who were in with certain corporations or different organizations got to really participate in some of the exclusive parties we had around town. This year, we are trying to make sure that the Super Bowl reaches everybody in all neighborhoods, all economic levels. So we're looking to really get everybody involved. We're looking at about 10,000 volunteers to help out, but also events in various neighborhoods because, as you know, our strength is our ethnic diversity. We have some of the largest communities from Latin America, from Asia, from the Middle East, Africa, all here. And when people come to Houston and they get to see that diversity and those cultures, they're overwhelmed. And that's the picture we want to point to of Houston, that it is a dynamic, diverse city that really prides itself on the people who make up Houston. And so look for events that you can go to, that you can be a part of. We are just now accepting applications for charities, for grants to help their organization. So a lot of things going on. You'll see more in the newspaper.
Yeah, very good. By the way, Reggie, let's make sure we give out your website as well.
You bet. www.houstonicc.org. And that stands for Houston Intercontinental Chamber of Commerce.org.
Yep, your next question for our guest. And in fact, we've got about a minute left. Why don't you go ahead and wrap it up with him?
Okay. Well, now, Gordon, you know that we have a lot of great things that we've been doing internationally. And just real quick, what do you think or what do you see with Houston being an international city are the best opportunities right now, maybe for some of the businesses or some of our listeners, just briefly?
Well, I'll tell you, there are so many opportunities, and that's a hard question to answer in 1 minute, to tell you the truth, Reggie. I think that just getting involved with the chamber and you meeting some of these people will really open their eyes. So I don't want to specify one area. I can go into medicine or into some the downstream energy opportunities, but there's also a lot of retail opportunities too. So, God, that's a tough question to answer.
That's okay. I like the response of just getting involved with our chamber, and we'll take care of that. I think that's a perfect answer, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, too, particularly your chamber, because, frankly, as one of these chambers, Gordon, I think, nailed it when he talked about the fact that not only does it have a global presence, but it has an incredible local footprint as well. Yet it's small enough to know all of these movers and shakers that are really making a difference. I think it's great advice.
I agree, Kevin, and I appreciate Gordon and everything he does for us, and you, Kevin, and everything that your show has been doing, and the way it helps and supports business here in the Houston economy.
Well, we look forward to your future interviews. Thanks to both of you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Kev. Have a great day.
All right. You too, gentlemen. All right. When we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. While they're like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.
Blinded by the light.